And if everything went right, when I twist this key. What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to part 3 of my how to build an RSF650 on a budget series. In this episode, we're gonna focus on the electronics and all the upgrades that I got right here. They all arrived. We pretty much have a brand new throttle with the key and a voltmeter. I got new disc brakes, which we'll do in a later time. Put that aside for now. We have the charger. This is a 48 volt charger, and it just needs a minor modification. You can't just plug it in right away when you buy it. It'll actually blow up. We got brand new brakes, which again we'll do next time. The brakes and the brake rotors we'll keep for when we install everything together. Put that aside. Over here, we have the motor. This is the motor and controller. I'll leave a link down in the description for all the stuff I've used on this project, so you can do it yourself. This is an 1800 watt motor, which is perfect for me. I know some guys want to go 100 miles an hour on the Razor. I have 3 bikes already. I have a Suron, I have a Stealth Bomber. These Razor builds that I'm doing for me and for my brother, they're more like snack getting machines, you know, just to ride around the neighborhood, go get some snacks, 7-Eleven, ride around and have some fun. We're not trying to break world records here, okay? So this is a budget build. So we got the 1800 watt motor and the controller, which again will need some modification very soon, so we'll put that aside. And this is our beautiful motor, which also will need some modification. We're gonna need to chop off these wings. Not necessary, doesn't fit right. And 2 of these screws over here, I don't know if you guys can see good, but these 2 screws we're gonna have to countersink and drill as well so it fits the Razor right. So that's modification for this. This kit actually comes with a throttle as well, but we're not gonna be using this throttle. I have a different one with the key. And what else it comes with? Some tools and a different sprocket, but we're not going to use this stuff, so leave it in a box. And last but not least, we have our BTR power battery. This is a 48 volt 25 amp hour battery. Should probably give us a range of about 25 miles or so. Beautiful battery. I'll leave a link down in the description as well for this. Let's open it up and see what we got here. So this battery also comes with its own charger, but from my experience, this charger is not the greatest, so we'll keep that aside for now. It also comes with some Anderson connectors. Those are just good to have. If you want, you can throw it on yours. I'm gonna be doing it a little differently, so I'm not gonna be using these. And this is our battery right here, 48 volt, 25 amp hour. We're gonna need to do some work on these plugs over here. So we got all our upgrades right here that we're gonna be needing to tinker with. I also have this original Razor piece, so we're gonna be using some of these plugs. And I also have the original battery plug from the Razor. We're gonna need that for my new battery, so that will go in here. I also have the original RSF controller here, just in case we may need some of these plugs over here, so it's good to keep. Let's get started. For the controller over here, there are some plugs we're not gonna be using. So we have reverse, we're not gonna be using that. I'll put that off to the side. We have 2 brake connectors. Those are, if you're using an electronic brake, when you hit the brake it'll cut the motor. I don't care for that, put those aside. We have the brake light, which also not going to be using, put that aside. And then we have the 3-speed, but for now I'm just going to put them aside and zip tie them together so they're not interfering in our way. Alright, so I got them zip tied to the side, that way they do not interfere, don't confuse us. What we got left over here is the battery connection over here, and then we have the 3 motor phase wires, and then we have indicator light. We're going to be using this for the headlight, so we need this. This is the motor connector, we're going to be needing that. This is our charging port, we're going to be needing that. We're going to hook up the charging port to the battery. Electronic lock, and the throttle will be connected directly to the throttle. So recap, for this battery, the power plus and the power negative is gonna go to this original RSF battery plug. We're gonna do that shortly. All right, now we have the charging port. charging port, I'm just gonna cut through here, tape it off, and the connector that's left, we're gonna take that and connect that to charge plus and charge negative. That will be our whole battery situation. Then we have the motor, which connects to the motor plug right here. And we'll have left with just the phase wires and the battery plug. This battery plug, I'm gonna cut as well and connect to this original battery plug. So we're gonna have to do that in a second. And as far as the throttle, what we ended up doing here is I went ahead and changed it. I just added these cables over here, cut it from the original RSF controller, all the connectors that I needed, refit them over here for the throttle and for the electronic lock, which is the key. And then I can hook everything up and make sure the motor runs and the throttle runs correctly. See you guys in a bit. All right, most of our connections are done. We got the RSF original battery plug to the positive and negative. We got the charger port, which will plug directly into the charging port over here. We have the other side of the battery plug to the negative and positive over here. These are all the connections I'm not using, just having them on the side for now. This is the motor plug, and we got our throttle connection. All I got left is this indicator light, which is for the headlight. I'm gonna do that when the bike is all assembled. So I'm gonna plug everything right now and make sure that we got power and the motor is actually turning, the keys running, and hopefully everything is good. Let's see. All right, moment of truth. Got the battery plugged in. This I don't care about right now. This is for the charger. It's fine. Phase wire is plugged in. Throttle is plugged in. Key lock is plugged in. And if everything went right, when I twist this key, oh yeah, we're on. Let's see, let's try this. Yeah! And it's spinning the right way, which is great. Perfect, this is perfect. All right, so again, I know this was a little bit confusing, but if you followed along and you know what you're doing, this should be pretty straightforward. We did use some of the existing plugs from the Razor to reuse them in this new situation. Throttle is working, everything is working, so I can disconnect everything right now until we're ready to install the bike and assemble everything back together. Let's jump onto the charger, because there is something you need to do to the charger in order to make it work, otherwise it will explode. Which is not a good thing. So the problem is inside here, we have to open up this connector up here and switch out one of the connectors to the other pin. I think it's like 1 and 3 here, but on the charger it's 1 and 2 or something like that. I'll let you guys know as soon as I open it to make this work right. So let's do this next. So this is what I mean when you open up this plug. It has brown and blue. Sometimes it'll be brown and green. The brown is the negative and the other color is the positive, but double make sure on yours. You can open up the actual box and see. But the way they have it connected is that negative goes to pin number 3, which is the middle bottom one, and the positive goes to pin number 1. If you're looking at it like this, it's the left top one. We need to move the brown one onto that empty one right there to number 2. So it should be positive to number 1, you leave it where it is, and the brown moves from the centerpiece to that empty one. That's the only way to make it work, because I'm going to keep the charging port on top. So gonna do that real quick and we'll have this fixed. So this is what I was talking about. Never mind my mediocre soldering job, but you just got to move the brown, which is the negative, onto pin number 2, and pin number 1 is the positive, and the charger will work. Sweet. All right, so we got all of the electronic parts done. Got the battery connections, all of the connections on the controller, the motor, the throttle works, the key works. We saw that the motor runs perfectly, and we fixed the charger situation. So now it charges. So that pretty much covers all of the electronic part. Next is just some fine things that I have to do to the motor, like remove those wings. I'm not gonna bore you with that. Just take an angle grinder to that and take that off. And we have to countersink these bolts over here on the motor. Same thing, not gonna bore you with that. Just take a drill to it. Not the biggest deal. But that pretty much covers all the electronic parts on how to custom build an RSF650 on a budget in this series. Join me on the next episode where we're gonna be assembling the frame, putting the battery and everything in there. But that pretty much does it. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. That really helps out the channel. Leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you plan on doing this type of project. I'm gonna have links to everything I've used down in the description. That pretty much does it for me. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!